Hi, welcome to the Kind Beer Review. I'm Josh Kenzer. It's Friday the 13th, the weekend before Father's Day. I'm hanging out back here with Spider-Man, a little leftover from my son's third birthday party. He loves Spider-Man. This is episode 3, and we're going to do porters. I'm sorry, IPAs. I've got 3 different IPAs here. Just a little story about IPA, I guess, is when they used to take beer from England over to India, on a boat, long trip, they didn't want the beer to spoil, especially at, more than room temperature, boat temperature out in the open ocean. So hops happens to be a natural preservative, so they would stuff the beer full of hops in order to preserve the beer on the long trip. Obviously that lent to the flavor, and that's where the style IPA comes from. But I also saw on beertaptv.com, Eric and Dusty over there, they did double IPAs, their last episode, and they told that story as well. Check them out. Just like this show, higher quality, they got nice graphics along the bottom, and their site looks a lot better than mine. And they get to film every episode in a bar. How cool is that? Guys from Colorado, I think they mainly focus on Colorado companies, but according to them, at least, Colorado has some of the most beer brewing companies in the United States are in Colorado. So, but with that said, I don't have any from Colorado. I've got a Red Hook India Pale Ale. It's from Woodinville, Washington, the Red Hook Company, very well known, at least on the West Coast. Inversion IPA from the Deschutes Brewing Company up in Bend, Oregon, where my grandparents happen to live. And then a new brand that I've never heard of, it's Beer Republic, it's the Racer 5 India Pale Ale, and it's actually out of Healdsburg, California. I grew up in Nevada, right next to California. Spent a lot of time in California. I've never heard of a city called Healdsburg. So maybe I'll do a little more research. It says Sonoma County Ales on it, so they must be in Sonoma somewhere. Anyway, let's get to it. We'll start with the Red Hook IPA. Glass here. This is 6.5% alcohol by volume. It's called the Long Hammer. You can see there. Nice head, big head. You can see the retention is good. It's not really dissolving that fast. Very clear. I would say straw. A little bit darker than straw, but not dark by any stretch. Very hoppy aroma, flowery. Remember, hops are flowers. Even a bit of citrus. But you can see the head retention is really good on this beer. Light mouth taste, not overly carbonated. It doesn't bite the tongue. Not overly bitter for an IPA. With as much hops as it probably has. Very drinkable. Yeah, a little bit of extra air in there brings out some of the bitterness, but good beer. This is probably about 60 degrees. I've had it out of the cooler probably about a half hour to 45 minutes. Good beer. The one thing I've been doing a lot of watching of beer reviews, there's a ton on YouTube, Beer Tap TV, a few others, and then there's a lot of blogs with beer reviews where they'll review individual beers. I have yet to see, okay, Beer Advocate I have, but other than that, no one ever gives a bad beer review, and I think that's because if you like beer, it's really hard to find a beer you don't like. That's my theory. So this is the Deschutes Brewery Inversion IPA, Bend, Oregon. Like its name suggests, Inversion IPA defies the ordinary. The layers of soft caramel malt, notes of generous amounts of our favorite Northwest hops for a bright, sunny citrus finish. Blah, blah, blah. It is 6.8% alcohol by volume. These are out of the shot, but not too much going on in the head in terms of aroma. You know, I would expect it a lot more. It might be because it's at a little bit warmer temperatures, but nothing overpowering. I'm not really getting much of anything, but you can see, just like the other one, the head retention on here is really good. It must be a element of the hops. It's a darker color for sure. The Deschutes is, and we'll see how it goes. Very similar mouthfeel, although definitely a touch more bitterness. Definitely a stronger flavor, more bitter, and definitely a much stronger aftertaste as it goes down. Very you know, when I think of hops, I think of flowers, and it's, you know, if you went outside and just picked a flower and ate it, you'd kind of have that sense of chewy, waxy, aroma-ish flavor, and that's what that's kind of what I think of when I think of a hoppy flavor, something that's strong in hops, because it's really uncomparable to any other flavor. Hops, I mean. And then I mean, obviously my palate is not trained yet enough to distinguish between hop A, hop B, hop C, but hopefully I'll get there, and at that point maybe I'll be a beer judge. So the last one here is the Beer Republic. I wanted to do 3 different ones today because when you review beers one at a time, it's hard to notice any subtle differences because it might be, you know, a day or a week or who knows how long between, and so it can be difficult to notice subtle differences. But if you do a couple at a time, you know, it might be a lot easier. So again, a little bit lighter than the Red Hook, about the same lightness as the this was the Deschutes, so lighter than the Deschutes Brewery. About the same as the Red Hook, although one is definitely more orange coppery. Ooh, much stronger head on this one. This is the Racer 5 India. Much more aromatic, that hoppy smell. Citrusy, no spice, nothing like that. Just a hoppy, citrusy smell. Good head retention. It's just a characteristic of an IPA, is that the head, you know, even on here, it still hasn't fallen all the way in, and you can see it crawling along the edges. And this one, since the beginning, is definitely dissipated the most. Again, very similar mouthfeel, light-bodied, biting of the tongue, very smooth, not quite creamy thickness, but very smooth lightness. This one, though, of the 3, definitely the strongest flavor, much more bitter than the other ones. You know, that taste made me think of coffee when I tasted it. You know, it's not a dark beer, it's not a thick beer, but you know, just that slight taste of and maybe it's a different style of malt they're using, but that slight taste of a coffee hint when it went down, which you know, if I was doing one beer at a time, I definitely would not have picked that up. Yeah, but definitely the most bitter. Happy Father's Day. Go out, it's Father's Day. You have an excuse to go buy 7, 8, if you can find quality enough beer, $9 6-pack of Kind beer. Drink it up, share with your buddies, your friend dads, and have a good weekend.